Welcome to On the Grids with Kandi. Happy New Year. I mean, depending on what calendar you go by. Could be February, could be March, could be now. We don't know. It's a new beginning. I don't think it has anything to do with calendar for most of us. We felt this energy coming in. This like almost like a force kind of like rushing over us, like, you know, the end of the tunnel type feeling, like at least I did, and a lot of people I've talked to and some other readers that I've watched. It's just, you know, over the past, I don't know, month or so, maybe a little longer, we've all been like, whew. Even though we can see all this residual energy going on around us from the last cycle, we know that that's just residual. We know that that's just as things change and things drop off, you know, and you know, even I am guilty of waiting till the last minute, you know, to drop that one thing or whatever, you know, that one, you know, part of self or thing that's bugging me, or, you know what I mean? Like, another part of an old cycle, like say you found yourself in a cycle and you got out of it, but then, you know, wherever you landed, that cycle was still right there. It was there before you again, and maybe you dabbled in it and then you were like, no, I want to transition. I want my frequency to be different, you know, and you jump out real quick, right? I'm guilty of that. So, yeah, I got throat chakra. Woo! I got this deck, recently, and I love it. It is awesome. And so while I'm talking, I'll just pull some cards instead of the, you know, regular spread. Sometimes I just talk and pull cards. So we're going to be doing this. Okay. And I got a lot of downloads recently. So I will be sharing some of those today. And possibly, I'm being like, possibly some channeling. We'll see. I hope everybody, you know, with the new year and everything, you know, setting all these goals and stuff, you should always be setting goals. It's one of the things about New Year's that I don't really like, is that it's like we get in this mindset of, you know, at this time of year, and it's not even the right time of year. It's not, I mean, as in where it's fair, because it's ready for Christmas. You just made lists of things that you want, and then, you know, you're kind of in a euphoria of, well, you know, I've gotten all these great things that I wanted, so our goals are not pointed enough because we're in like this reception, right? Which we should be, but that's why it's good to wait a month when you start feeling like you're not feeling as fulfilled, right? Because, you know, if you have good family time, you know, you have a healthy family and stuff, and it's all very positive and good, and everybody gets the things that they ask for, or we're surprised, and all these things, we get stuck in that reception, so our goals don't seem as big. You know, it's just a mindset thing that we have to meditate and pull ourselves back and say, wait, where was I before Christmas? What was I looking at before that? Right? And sometimes you can just wait until like February-ish and be like, okay, you know, that's gone. Like that fulfillment might actually kind of leave you a little bit, where you find yourself back to where you were before, even before Thanksgiving, like before the holidays, before all these distractions, right? Where were you? And you'll find we usually find ourselves back there in February. And what happens is we set these resolutions that don't really they don't really resonate. It's not enough. It's not pointed enough, or it's by February, it's something you didn't, you know, yeah, that sounds good and all, but I don't really want to do it, you know, and that's fine. And then we beat each other. Yeah. We beat each other, and we beat ourselves up throughout the year until we do this all over again. And it's like, you should just don't wait for January. You know, if it's July, and you're like, man, this is something I really want to do, then go ahead and be that New Year's resolution oriented person. Because then when you get here and you've been in reception and you've had this great, experience and this time off and all these distractions, these wonderful distractions from, for a lot of people, then you don't get lost in that. You won't get lost in that. And you will also see there's no need to set a resolution at this time of year, right? Because you're already so far in, and that's just my perspective, and that's just how I see it. I'm not a very 3D person anyway. So the card that fell out while I was talking is the Hermit. And now in original tarot, we all know what that means. That's a Cancer. The sign of that is Cancer. Pretty sure. And, it's like, some people see it as a negative, like going into seclusion or being secluded. But honestly, it's for your betterment. The Hermit card is for your betterment. Okay. Because you basically take yourself away from the distractions. And that's what I was just saying. Yeah. So you set these resolutions and, say you're good with it. You're like, nah, Kandi, that's cool. I like my resolutions and all that. If you get to that point in a month or two that you find yourself feeling like you're failing or falling short, remember the Hermit. Remember, I just need to get back in touch with self. I need to get back in touch with this higher self. I need to ground myself. In another video where I said, you put your feet on the ground, your hands in the air, and you look, where is this middle ground from your core, right? What is it that I need to do from here, right? And seclusion, time with self. That's where we find the answer. That's where we find the answer. Okay. And I've had a lot of that lately, and it's been great. And then my next card is 0 fucks. Okay. And this is the 0. So in regular tarot, this would be the Fool card, right? And in here, it's like, yeah, nada, none, no. This shift, this cycle has been about, for those of us who, we're all on different levels. Some are, put their hands in the air and their feet in the ground, and they are, and some of us are like, wait, does it come here? Does it come here? We're still figuring it out. And the Fool comes in to tell you the only reason you're struggling with that is because you are worried about the outside, whether it's your outside, everyone else, instead of just saying, no, I'm going to go, whoops, sorry. I'm going to go internal. I'm going to ask my higher self, and I'm going to give 0, nada, none thought to how someone perceives that. Because that's what pulls us out of this activation part, or this realization, is while we're having it, a lot of times other people that don't understand, or, even take it some kind of way that you're not being social, you are secluding or whatever. It can kind of pull you out, make you feel guilty, all those things. And I would never say that people do that on purpose. Because I had said, in other videos, and I think in Miss Kandi's line, I said, a lot of times people don't know they're doing that. It's because they don't do this, so they don't know what you are doing. They don't understand it, right? And again, we cannot pull or force anyone over to our perspectives or into what we're doing. All we can do is kind of bridge it, and be like, well, this is what I'm doing. And then if they're like, and then you have to be like, well, there's the bridge if you want to cross it. Otherwise, I'm going to do, what's best for me. I'm going to figure out, I'm going to figure out what I'm doing next. I'm going to figure out what the internal me, now that I've been in all this reception, whether you had great holidays or not so great holidays, it's such a distraction, in so many different ways, that Vibing High takes you to go do this for a minute after all that, right? And while you're doing it, no. I love you, but I don't care what you think. right? And if someone loves you back unconditionally, I mean, that should be a total, equal footing for both of you. I love you, but I don't care what you think. And that is not a personal, unkind thing. It's actually where we all need to be, right? To even start to begin to understand what even unconditional love is, because that's how I unconditionally love myself. I love you, zero. Though that at the, what you think of me, whether it's good or bad, it doesn't define me. That's how you define me in your mind. And really, you should worry about defining yourself, right? Because then you get clarity of who is around you, all right? And what their intentions are. Because you can feel in your intentions, you're in alignment with your intentions and your higher self. So it's not easy for people to distract you, with their projections or their energy or whatever it is. And I, for the past few weeks, I have met some amazing people. I've had some amazing experiences. I mean, I'm just in awe right now with the world, with my little world that's starting to develop right now. And I just really, it's like a collective too. There's a lot of people that are, again, like I'd said a few videos back, it's when this season ended, it's for people in a certain collective or phase in their ascensions or whatever. This is soul family time. This is when you find out you've accepted the fact. Say you're already hermiting, you've been hermiting, and you've been doing this, but it got lonely, right? You're like, well, I gotta keep doing this for? I didn't want to, spend my life alone. I didn't want to lose everything. So you had, this helps us cut things loose, whether they're habits or energies, whatever. But now you're sitting here like, why did I do all that? Why did I do all that? Because now you forgot about the outside. Now you're looking at how you feel. Like, well, I did that, and now I'm sitting here by myself, right? And but what you have to realize is that's what you're doing. You're sitting with gratitude. You're figuring it out. You're sitting with gratitude. And now what's meant for you, the habits, the energies, all that's coming. All that's right there. It's all right there. Whether it's in its actual true form or it's just in the idea form. And I don't mean thought. Like, say you go somewhere and you get this feeling and this energy and this clarity. It doesn't mean that place is where it's going. Now you have to, whatever, maybe it was a gym or something, and now you have to sign up and all this stuff, because no, all it's saying is this is the path. What 3D elements you add, as in what gym you go to and all that is totally up to you, right? And with figuring all that out, because now that you have really done all this work, and you can walk in a place and know if you belong there, right? Or if it's a facade, or if it just doesn't even feel good, right? Now you'd be so in tune to that because you took this time. And for this season, it was the most important, because sacrifice is still a big deal. Like, it's kind of misunderstood when we're thinking about, sacrifices of humans or animals or whatever back in the day that they tell us about. But no, this is an inner sacrifice of like, I am in such surrender. I am willing to sacrifice every single element of my life, as long as I'm warm and cared for, and fed, those basic elements are met. And then you're able to really do a lot more meditation, because you have just kind of pushed everything that was distracting away, while you get back into alignment with this inner self. And then, of course, in the beginning of it, we always sit with gratitude, like, thank God. Thank God I don't have to do that. Thank God I'm getting a break from that. Whatever it is, whether I'm not speaking in terms of humans, but it could be, thank God I don't have to deal with that person. You know, all these choices that you've made, you sat in gratitude first. And then you might have got a little itchy and the brain scratching, like, oh, why did I do this? You know, like, oh, this isn't cool. Like, is this what my life's going to be now? You know, alone because I'm, you know, the idea was to become enlightened, but then as you try to share that or be part of something out there with this enlightenment, it doesn't seem to resonate in others and all that. And then as for me, I was, you know, getting like right there, like, oh, you know, I'm so tired of doing this because, you know, this is something we're going to do repeatedly throughout our life. And I'm like, damn, I'm so tired. I'm so tired of doing this, right? And then boom, just like that, a reflection of myself, then another one, and then another one. They understand. Wait, what? I didn't even say it. They did. You know, I've been quiet this whole time hearing, you know, my own collective consciousness come back out of the mouths of those in front of me, or in something I'm writing, drawing, whatever. And then I'm like, oh, yes, of course. This is the best part. And depending too on how hard it was for you this time to sacrifice habits, energies, whatever, no matter how hard that was on you, that really is determining your dharma. Like, oh yeah, this was a rough one, you know? So some things might actually come easier. So just breathe. Just breathe. And then I got future. And then I got, oh, I'm dropping my cards. All right, what else? Future what? Future what? It's in your mind's eye. We got fall. So that, what is fall? Fall is that death, so there can be a rebirth, right? So it's in your mind's eye. And perception. Oh, we got this again. Perception is everything. And what fell out when I lifted those up was Leo and the moon. And so for me, this is the sun and the moon, right? So you are being like truly enlightened in this moment of these seasons, you know, of this death and the future of your rebirth, you know, of your new beginning. And you already know what it is. You already know what's coming down. You're on your path and you're like, oh shit, I'm here. I got it, right? And the perception of that is everything, because sometimes when we accomplish things, we can get our heads swell, we can feel egoic, you know, and then we can lose kind of sight of stuff. And then you think, man, I did all this work and I'm here and none of this is working out. Right? Remember, keep yourself in check. Perception is everything. And make sure you're taking in other people's perspectives. You're holding them for a minute, you know, and you're discarding what really shouldn't be living in you or around you or near you, and you are hanging on or cultivating, really. It's not even, because we don't really want to hang on to anything, nothing by force. We want to cultivate this. My camera radio just turned on. And there's no one here with me. All that stuff that you just heard is way over there. So somebody needs to hear this. Perception is everything. Everything. You know, like I was talking in one of the other videos, it's like, yeah, once you get here, you got to stop marinate on that. I'm so alone, or what have I, you know, you need to see that it's the light coming in now, you know, as you look at all these other things and your visions coming back to you in these ways that, like I've said, or your own energy, like all these things just surrounding you and coming back. Sometimes that can make us mad, you know, where that egoic part of, all this time I've been sitting here being the hermit, and everybody else pulled it from the collective, and now what do I got to offer, right? Everything. We need to arrive together. When we're in perspective and perception and gratitude, we are one. We are I'm in all, you're in all, and this is the greatest good of all. So the more like-minded people, or people that say things that's in your mind, or you've said, or the energy, you know it, you recognize it because it lives in here. That's a time to sit in gratitude again and go, I'm home. You know, I'm as home as I can be here until I'm home. Right? And I'm just really excited for a lot of the collectives right now because they are all, you know, that you guys, they are all sitting there. They're all sitting there. And sorry, I know that some of that trailed off, but there was channeling in between where when that went off, and I was just like, ripping the grids. Okay, I hear you. I love it. But yeah, this is an important message. Whatever your intuition is telling you that you need to pay attention to, this is what maybe, because you're like, I don't want to do that. You know, but you can see yourself doing it in your mind's eye, or not doing it, whatever it is, but your perception hasn't changed yet. And this is what I'm talking about, the residual. Just take a breath and keep seeing that. When I'd said before, it's the rest, it's the end of this. This is a natural thing that has to happen. It has to. We have to experience this, where we see in our mind's eye what we're capable of, or what's next, or what we want to do, whatever your gifts lead you to see. But our perception of it is, it's going to be too hard. I can't do that. That's crazy. Or, you know what I mean? You're trying to find all this logic, and you're trying to blend the 3D into what the unseen is providing, and that's not easy to do without understanding that the grids and you know, your source and where you're placed, you know, what you're touching, you know, what you're cultivating and what you're pushing out. So that's the point of hermiting, to figure that out. So you push out. You are intentional. You are completely intentional in everything that you do. No one's perfect. And as long as you try, as long as that's the intention, you're just going to get better at it. But of course, none of us are ever going to be perfect, right? And when we meet others doing the same thing, saying the same thing, being the same thing, that is home. That is what we're here to do, right? And when you embrace it that way, it doesn't matter. You're like, oh my gosh, that's what I just spent all these months writing this book that someone just published, right? Remember, we live in a collective consciousness. So all ideas, every idea that you have is available to anyone who accesses it, right? But you're not missing anything. That's just the universe's way to say, that's your direction, or that's your energy, or that's your home. Now do it again. Do it together. See each other. Hey, we are one. Wow. Instead of, oh my God, he stole my idea. Okay. With that being said, I just felt a close. There's a ribbon that goes over there, and it's like, gonna turn the radio back on. Maybe rewind, listen to what it was saying. I know it said Bluetooth disconnected at one point or something like that. I wasn't doing anything. So, but there was some announcer, so I'll watch it back again too. But I kept getting that vision too. The more with these videos, I was getting a lot of the orbs in some of the older videos a lot when I would talk about certain topics. But it's funny. I was having some, I was dream visions, you know, whatever, of things like this happening, like just in waking life, where I'm walking around and, you know, I'm talking to someone like in person, maybe, you know, it wasn't necessarily on a video, but you know, and a pillow just gets up and comes across the room. You know what I mean? Like all this, and it's like a metaphor for the interaction, the blending now, the veil. If you thought it was thin before, my friends, get ready. Confirmation. All right, guys, remember, not everything is your fault. You are loved, and I love you too.